Well, we have seen, unfortunately, that criminal leaks, criminals leaking top secret information to the media has consistently gotten those stories wrong.
You heard Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau slamming his own national security officials for leaking information, unsubstantiated, false, malign information without evidence to media for reports that linked Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Indian government's top functionaries with the alleged killing of India's most wanted and a Canadian citizen, Pro Khalistani leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, in a press conference at Brampton, sharply condemned his own national security officials, calling them criminals.
Taranjit from Red FM. Recently, a mainstream media reported that a Canadian security agency claimed Prime Minister Modi and the Foreign Affairs Minister are aware of the attacks on Canadian citizens. However, the National Security Agency stated that it has no evidence to support his allegation. Will your government investigate how an agency can make such a claim and how a mainstream media outlet can publish this story without any evidence?
Well, first of all, we have seen, unfortunately, that criminal leaks, criminals leaking top secret information to the media has consistently gotten those stories wrong. That's why we had a national inquiry into foreign interference that has highlighted that the criminals leaking information to media outlets are unreliable on top of being criminal. In terms of the issue, let me just repeat that my primary job as a Canadian leader is to keep Canadians safe. And everything we have done over the past years in multiple difficult situations is to put the emphasis on keeping Canadians safe here at home across the country and making sure we're standing up for the rule of law. We will always do that.
Prime Minister Trudeau made the stern remarks after a Canadian newspaper report linking top Indian leaders, Prime Minister Modi, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval to the killing of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar that put further strain on already fraught India-Canadian ties. On October 29th, during hearing of Commons Standing Committee on Public Safety and National Security, Deputy Foreign Minister David Morrison and PM Trudeau's intelligence officer Nathalie Drouin confessed that they have leaked the information to Washington Post to garner international traction on the issue of Nijjar's murder.
You can confirm then that the information about, for example, the Indian Home Affairs Minister and his alleged involvement in these crimes in Canada, that was not released in Canada, however. Can you confirm that? That was only released in the Washington Post, pardon me.
So this is not an information we provided to the journalist.
Pardon me, it was not information you provided?
No.
Who provided that information then to the journalist? You're not sure? But that was not yourself who provided that information, was it?
We did not.
Mr. Morrison, can you comment? Did you provide that information?
The journalist called me and asked me if it was that person. I confirmed it was that person.
Oh, you confirmed. So you
This is a journalist who's written extensively on this topic. A journalist that has various sources. He asked me if that was one of the people, and I confirmed that it was.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. In that day, you can confirm, both Mr. Drouin and Mr. Morrison, that the Prime Minister did not release these information to the Canadian public, but it was released in the Washington Post, correct?
Released in the Washington Post, yes. I'm just racking my memory for exactly what the Prime Minister said.
Mr. Drouin, you advise the Prime Minister on issues of national security and intelligence, correct? You're the top advisor in Canada, is that correct?
Correct.
Did you advise him not to release that information publicly in Canada?
So we worked with the Prime Minister and the different ministers in terms of their public statements and I think this is what I can say. Like we advised and we review what was going to be the Q&As and the public statement by the Prime Minister and the different ministers.
I'm trying to understand why it is the Washington Post received information when the Deputy Commissioner, or pardon me, the Commissioner, the Prime Minister, the Public Safety Minister, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs did not provide that information to Canada. And in fact, Canadians wouldn't know unless they were able to read the Washington Post. I just find that quite unfair to the Canadian public that details were released in advance to the Washington Post and confirmed, according to Mr. Morrison, to the Washington Post, but not provided to Canada. Don't you find that odd?
The reason why we offered, as I said in my opening remarks, a background interview to the Washington Post was really to make sure that our side of the story will become clearly and be widely spread, especially at the international level. That was the strategy behind the background interview we gave.
India's External Affairs Ministry spokesperson slammed a smear campaign by Canada in a statement following alleged reports in Canadian newspaper. Your channel National Defense consistently has proved with thorough investigative stories that Nijjar was murdered out of gangland rivalry in British Columbia, and India has got nothing to do with the murder of India's most wanted criminal. Canadian security agency CSIS wanted him dead and not provided security despite alleged life threat due to gang rivalries in order to secure other sources in Pro Khalistani supporters that have become threat to Canada's own national security over the years, as Canadian government has to pander such criminal elements to remain in power. First Nathalie Drouin retracting through a statement, and now Justin Trudeau retracting from his stand and slamming own national security officials prove your channel's consistent stand. Thanks for watching National Defense. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.